Talking with my staff last week, we had a chart in the Chief of Staff's office that had 16 items listed, 16 bills. And 12 of those were put on the list during our Easter break about 7 weeks ago. And at that time I said to the staff, what are the chances we're going to get all of these done? And every one of them said, we'll never get through all of these. We not only got through those 12, we got through 4 more additional significant pieces of legislation, like human trafficking, that weren't even on that original list. And I think that speaks to the commitment that the Senate had to advancing a very aggressive agenda that the governor put forward over a year ago. And I think the breadth and the depth of the items that were on that 16-page list speak to the urgency that we feel to make some changes and make them now. You know, I kid with people, but it's really, I'm really not kidding. You know, the governor's idea of getting something done soon means he wanted it done yesterday. And so you saw us move major pieces of legislation in very short order because we were coordinating our efforts with the House, with the administration, and that made it easier then to do things like the Cleveland school plan. You know, where the Senate had hearings on a concurrent piece of legislation while the House was working on it. I want to give the Speaker a shout out for the work he did in working through the charter school issue. And for Mayor Jackson, you know, for bringing all parties to the table to make sure that the interests of everybody in Cleveland were represented through the Cleveland plan. And I was particularly pleased when we voted in the Senate that every Republican member of the Senate voted for that plan. And we had bipartisan support. Of the 16 bills that I mentioned that were on that whiteboard back at Easter, 15 of them passed with bipartisan support. Only one of them did not. And you look at some of those bills, like the pension reform that the Senate passed, 3 of those 5 bills passed unanimously. 1 passed with 3 no votes, 1 passed with 2 no votes. And so when people talk about why can't politicians get along, I would ask them to look at the Ohio Senate. Look at the Ohio legislature. Because the bills that we passed through the Senate in this session in the last 18 months, almost 90% of them were bipartisan. I think the actual number 87.5 or 87.6%. No one would believe that if you were to just make that statement, but the numbers speak for themselves. Workforce development is a key area. We have to do a lot more there. The governor mentioned the jobs number that we're a bit anxious about, what we're going to hear tomorrow. When we talk about the energy bill, and we tend to focus our efforts on the eastern part of the state, and while it's tremendous that what's happening there, the ripple effect of what's happening with the shale oil play in the eastern part of the state goes through the entire state. Whether it's the pumps they're making at Ariel Corporation, the pipes they're making in Lorain, I mean, everyone has the opportunity to benefit from that. And part of the strategy that the governor outlined was making sure that the workforce development needs of this industry were going to be met. So that's why you see programs at the local community colleges, training the people, providing the skills so that they are employable as soon as they graduate. A lot of exciting things going on. The education MBR, I want to give a particular mention to some key members of my team that worked on that issue. Senator Peggy Lehner, Liz Conley, Gail Manning, Senator Manning, and Senator Jones were tireless in their efforts in working with Dick, working with Stan, working with Barb from the governor's office. And you're right, we didn't always agree on things. But you know what? When we sat down and talked, we worked through those issues. And we made things better. And I think, you know, the governor would acknowledge when the bill first came out of the Senate, he was a little concerned about the direction we were heading. But as it moved through the House and we worked with the administration, things got better. And that's what the process is about. So it's been a remarkable run the last 18 months. I'm a little concerned when I heard the governor said, you ain't seen nothing yet. Not sure where we're going to go in the last 6 months. But it really has been remarkable in what's been done. But again, I think it speaks to the urgency that we feel to be responsive to the citizens of Ohio to deal with workforce issues, make sure people can get jobs, and that we can't wait. And we need to work every day to assure that Ohioans have opportunities to be successful. And so I've been very happy to be part of that process.